What's up, guys? I'm Brian.
And I'm Maury from the Erie Better Beer Bureau. Today we've got a local beer from Lavery Brewing Company. This is called The Wait, and it's aged in rye whiskey barrels. It's a stout that weighs in at 7.2% alcohol by volume. It says here, The Wait is brewed with English, Scottish, and German malts, hopped with Vanguard and Northern Brewer, fermented using an English yeast strain. So, this is, Lavery recently took on a new brewer. Marshall Pike, not too long ago. And this is kind of his baby. And the first beer he's put in bourbon barrels. You were lucky enough to try the base beer on draft. I did get a little sample of it too. It was a pretty nice English stout. So,
and it changes quite a bit.
As it warms,
like we really let one sit at the brewery, and from start to finish, it was just a completely different beer by the time we were done with it.
Sure.
And I do know that there were 80 bottles of this.
Only 80 bottles. 12-ounce bottles, wax dipped.
Wiggle?
I think they're Wiggle whiskey barrels from Pittsburgh area.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and we'll get into this one, and we'll let you know what we think about it. Well, there's a ton of wood, like a lot of wood.
Right. I mean, that's predominant,
and that spicy rye whiskey note is definitely coming out for me. It's not that kind of sweet bourbon smell. It has that spicy rye note for sure. Very oaky, like I said. And it has those kind of dry English malts pulling through as well. Yeah, it smells good. It's holding its carbonation really. I like the look of the beer a lot, you know? It kind of has that deep beige, creamy looking head that's kind of floating on top and a pretty significant ring around the outer edge of the glass as well.
Cheers.
Wow.
There's a lot of oak on the...
especially on the finish.
Yeah.
You know?
Dry wood.
Yep. The base beer is coming through a little bit of a bitter dark chocolate. With those woody tones, dry it out on the finish and almost make it a little bit more bitter. There is a little sweetness in the middle.
Yeah. There's almost a little... I kind of keep going back to almost a little toffee kind of sweetness, not overpowering, but
I will say this: it's a really, the head on it I really like. The carbonation level is perfect, and it almost makes it seem a bit creamy, even at only 7.2% alcohol.
I was just gonna say it's very creamy in my opinion for this,
which is kind of impressive for the low ABV. I'm not usually a big fan of low ABV stouts or going into bourbon barrels, but this one, it's kind of holding its own a little bit. That spicy rye note that's on the aroma kind of carries over into the taste. The whiskey itself, though, for me, is minimal.
Right, it's not minimal. Crazy. Yeah, it's there,
but it's not in your face at all.
Right. Which some people really may dig that. I mean,
it's
I hate to use the term well balanced again, but I think it's a smooth drinker.
Oh, it is.
I mean, it's very, I could see taking a 12 ounce of this down and, somebody showing up if you had another one and being like, yeah, let's drink it, man. Right back to back.
I'm between a 3.75 and a 4, but it's just too well made. I'm going 4 on it because the carbonation's perfect. And I really like the woody character, mixing with the English stout base. I think it works. I just want a little more time in the barrel for that rye whiskey flavor to come out, and I'd, even step it up a little bit higher. I mean, this is a pretty nice beer. 4 out of 5 for me.
I'm gonna actually agree on the 4. I like it. It's got great carbonation. It's got a nice little creaminess to it. I could definitely use a little bit more of like, I guess I should say, dial back a little bit of the oaky like barrel finish and hit a little bit more of like that rye whiskey on the flavor. Maybe a little bit more like chocolatey kind of notes to it.
Yeah.
I feel like the mouthfeel is kind of like a medium mouthfeel.
It's not bad for 7.2%.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a solid 4. Like it's, and for me, like it might be a little bit above a 4, but I'm going to go with a 4. I think Marshall did a great job with this. I'd love to see one sit in a barrel for a year or 18 months or whatever to see what kind of, action that gets. But I'm at a solid 4 all the way around, and great job, Marshall, on your first beer out of Lavery that's your kind of own. I mean, you put what the Marshall Pike Productions or whatever on the front of the bottle. It's a great beer from Lavery and Marshall. So I'm giving it a solid 4.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing it with me. Till
No
next
problem.
time. Cheers.
Cheers.